Welcome to the Marketing Revolution podcast. This is the underground movement of savage marketers from all over the world. We are not Fortune 500 companies. We are real entrepreneurs with real businesses that have one major thing in mind: to set goals and devour them daily. Because we understand that everyone wants to eat, but only savage marketers are willing to do the hunt. Now let's get this revolution started. Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with the Marketing Revolution podcast and the Marketing Savage Facebook group, coming to you with a live interview with Brian McKittrick. Brian,
hello.
How you doing today, brother?
What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, good, man. This is a long time coming, man. We actually had a hell of a laugh before we jumped on the show here. We were talking about the Dan Ward interview and some of the shit that Dan said in there that just was hilarious, man. And so Brian knows what's up. He knows how this podcast goes down. And I've been wanting to get Brian on the podcast for quite a long time. We finally nailed down a date, and we got the insurance man here today. And so welcome, Brian.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I've been tuning in for a while. It's cool to be on.
Yeah, cool, man. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, my man? Tell us a little bit how you got started. You know, okay. I know that, man, you're over there killing it. You are absolutely killing it in the insurance game. And a lot of that stuff is built off of, I would say, like last time I talked to you, you were telling me your social media marketing was just killing it. And people, you know, a lot of times when somebody asks for an insurance recommendation online, you get a lot of your leads by people giving you recommendations and things like that. I really want to like stress how powerful that is on this podcast, because I don't think people realize that once you get an online tribe or an online movement of people that know, like, and trust you and are willing to recommend you, your business really gains the type of momentum that we're looking for. I mean, we're looking for that evergreen. I mean, it's always fancy to say, yeah, fuck, I got a funnel. Yes, I'm advertising and all this shit. But it is 1,000 times better to have warm or hot leads coming in through recommendations.
Yeah, absolutely. I was doing a virtual summit here earlier today, and he was asking, what's your advice for a new business owner? The catalyst for me, starting my own office March 1st of last year, was getting in the Apex group, but that became a marketing, what we call the syndicate, you know, where you get in, you add value to the organization, and you become the guy for your niche. So anytime someone even whispers the word insurance in certain groups online, it just becomes a rattle off of tags. And this happened actually on Monday. Someone asked in a sales Facebook group, asked about health insurance, and the guy who admins the group tagged me, and then several more people from our marketing group, just Brian, not exaggerating at all. 10 leads from that one post. 3 I submitted applications for. 7 more are either wanted my information link or I've already quoted. And that just comes from building value in that group. I mean, you're the same way. When everybody says, how do I get a website? Our group will just John, just rattle it off. So, you know, Trevor and Kale with the CPA, Adam and Marshall with the credit card processing. It just becomes, you're the trusted advisor for our group. So you're adding value. We love you. When it comes up in our circle, you're going to be the one recommended.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's ideally where we are trying to get at with all of the marketing that we do, you know, is to become the individual that builds a sales force out of our clients and out of the people that we've added value to. I don't think people recognize that the game, you know, the real game is like getting in there and just adding as much value as possible and then helping people first. And then you got a percentage of people that they're not going to want to do it themselves, or they're not going to want to, you know, do these type of things. Like, for instance, I try to add as much value in marketing that I possibly can. I mean, if you go through this marketing podcast, you've got a fucking slew of not only entrepreneurs like yourself, but me just every single week giving tactical trainings, tips, and all this kind of stuff. Well, I know that I'm going to be helping out a majority of people that might not be able to afford my services, but there's going to be individuals that listen to that or get recommendations from people that I helped that have the type of money that they don't want to fuck with it. Right. So that's I know that's my ideal client and customer. So if you help everybody out with giving people solid information and leading them in the right path, the right direction, at a level where you may even be helping out like the do-it-yourselfers and things like that, you're going to automatically, at one point, you're going to get into the group of people that just want to hire you to do it. I mean, that's the game. That's
totally true.
Bottom line, it's adding value first.
Absolutely. Yeah. I, because of being in the group and being someone who adds value, I was invited to speak last Friday. This past Friday at a funnel marketing event. Not because I'm a marketer per se, but because I came from the sales perspective and I took this funnel software, and using it in different ways. And so that the software creator, he's looking at, oh, this is great idea, great stuff. Let's have you in.
So let me ask you, are you using phone sites?
That was phone sites. I'm sorry. That was Ryan asked me to use phones, asked me to speak at the funnel closer event because of the way of using phone sites. I don't come across as I don't use it top line. I don't use it just get a name and number and then start throwing them a CRM and do a bunch of calls to get them on hold. I get somebody at the very bottom of the funnel. I use the funnel to qualify the prospect. And I also use phone sites. Well, if you funnel the prospect, that way you know exactly what type of product that person was looking for. So I have a few different types of insurance products. I can basically put them into one of 4 buckets. So when the lead comes through, it's like, okay, this gentleman needs a marketplace plan. This gentleman needs a nonprofit plan. This gentleman needs the catastrophic, the baseline insurance plan, because they've gone through a series of questions. The benefit also is they've already seen the information, which is why people shop online to begin with. Insurance is incredibly antiquated in that way that they're not showing information. So why am I trying to control the guy to get on the phone? I can show him information, and by the time that he's a lead, I know exactly what he's looking for, and my close rate is much higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. Do you use something inside of phone sites that uses like Chronicle Logic?
No, what it is so phone sites has the button, and basically what I do. So that funnel, particularly my health funnel, that tells them the different.
You might use the button to direct them to which application they got to work out, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So it's like you. Okay. So I told the group this on Friday. You remember those books we got as kids, Never Ending Story?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you and I were talking about this last Friday. We're 1 year exactly. We're born on the same day, so we're 1 year apart. So I know you know those stories.
We're 1 year apart. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So you pick one and it goes to this story. You pick another one, it goes to this story. That's all I did with the phone site. So I took the different lead that I would want, and say, okay, what questions lead me to that end? So I just got on a big dry erase board, and it's just all these different possibilities, and I made a page for every single one. So using the button, it actually links them. So say it's either a yes or a no. It's the question is yes or no. It's either going to go this page.
It's going to go one way or the other. Yeah, and another thing that you can actually do with that is whatever landing page they go to, you can market position that page geared towards whatever service they're looking for. Right. I'll give you an example. I recently jumped on a webinar, and the guy has like 4 or 5 different books. Well, I was kind of hacking the webinar. I didn't really go through his webinar, but I was just like, he's known as a webinar expert. And I'm like, let's just see how he set this up, because things change. And I went through it the other day. I noticed it asked the question what I was interested in. Was I interested in bringing, leads into my webinar? Was I interested into learning how to create a webinar? Or was I interested in learning how to create a product? And then based off of the answer I selected bringing leads into the webinar. He actually, the landing page had a video sitting there where he was trying to sell me his book funnel, which was a lead, basically a lead generation book. And then it dawned on me, I'm like, okay, so he added Chronicle Logic inside of here to basically land you on, he probably, if he had 4 books, he had 4 different landing pages, and the 4 different landing pages had 4 different sales pitches in it. But the truth is, that's the future of marketing. It's tailoring the experience to exactly what the individual needs. And, not only tailoring the experience, but tailoring that market positioning once they get to that page. I mean, because you might have automotive insurance, you might have home insurance, you might have, you wouldn't want somebody, let's just say you had some market positioning things put on that page. Like you had some screenshots of like some people that commented on Facebook that said, hey, Brian was amazing at my home insurance, and helped me get a new roof, whatever. Right. So the individual, you might want to have them landed on a page that you have screenshots of Facebook reviews or even customer testimonials of their home insurance. You wouldn't want somebody who's looking for home insurance to land on a page and have a customer testimonial video of somebody with automotive insurance.
Right. Exactly.
So there are kind of ways that you can actually tailor that user experience when you dig deep into the market positioning, and you can actually really, really make it neat. For instance, we offer 4 different types of media services. I could literally, when they click on the media services, I could have whatever form they fill out go to a different landing page based on the type of media services that they want.
Okay. Yeah. See, my thinking was, so I started, you mentioned hacking. So I started watching all these different Facebook ones. People would go in there like, I'm the health insurance guru. I would see that phrase. I'm like, okay. But all the pages were free quote, free quote, free quote. And you get to the spot, no information whatsoever. And they ask for your name and number, or they ask you to request an appointment. And no point did anyone actually show information online. So, that led me to go, I want to be different. I want to be a differentiator. So it actually helps in 2 ways. Number one, they're getting the information that they're looking for, and they're more likely when they get on the phone with me to be serious. And then the second part, in my benefit, is I know I'm getting a qualified buyer. I know I'm getting someone who's gone through the ropes and actually says, okay, this is what I'm truly, truly interested in getting. And they've been seasoned a little bit more. And then the funnel itself can actually deter people that would not be your ideal client.
Sure. Yeah. That's like marketing by definition is, attracting the right people and actually repelling the wrong people, because you can't be everything for everybody. You really can't be the cheap guy and the premium guy,
It's very hard.
It's a very, very hard to do that. In fact, Dan Kennedy was coined by saying that there's no market advantage by being the second cheapest person. Right? The second cheapest person. There's no market advantage to that.
Yeah.
Because either you're the cheapest or you're the most expensive. And there can be a market advantage to being the most expensive person, because
absolutely.
You got people like me who usually choose the most expensive thing. And I'm wired in my mind to feel that whatever's the most expensive is the best.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, I look for value and stuff like that. But right off the bat, then when somebody lays something out in front of me, if I look and I see somebody lays, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a quick example. So I get targeted by all of these ads for watches, for different types of watches. Because I'm always looking online. I'm looking usually at Breitlings or Hublots, and I'm looking at them, and I've got all my different watches that I love. And so I'm getting targeted all the time, and I'll see a really cool watch, but as soon as I click on it and I see that it's only $150, I immediately I'm like, what a piece of shit, because I just know that you can't buy a good quality, like, a super good quality crystal face, all of the type of stuff that I look for in a watch. I'm not going to be able to buy that at $150 price point.
Yeah.
So, totally. If I would have clicked on it and it would say 19,000, I would be interested in the brand. I would say,
Okay.
wow, man, let
Yeah.
me dig a little bit deeper into this. What the fuck is this, man?
Mhm.
$19,000 watch. Let me dig deeper because now I want to see what the hell this company's about.
Right.
But as soon as I see it's $150, but they have their market, you
They
know,
have a spot. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have their they have their market, you know.
But that's not the cheapest watch though. That's
Yeah,
the funny thing. You
that's
have the
not the cheapest watch.
$25. Yeah, you can get a $25, $50 Fossil watch,
And a $20,000 watch is not the most expensive watch. I mean, my buddy
True.
Mark Evans just
Mhm.
recently, it was about a year ago, he bought a $125,000 watch. And
Wow.
you know, he's got $125,000 on his wrist. And he actually even said for him, which is man, he's out there, he's killing it. He's a real estate fucking Mongol, man. And
Mhm.
he said even that for him, he questioned it. He questioned his fucking decision making ability at that point, right? And but he had to stop because you know, one thing that Mark Evans knows is that he knows everybody's got a financial thermostat. And he
True.
knew that buying that watch was going to crush some sort of limiting belief that he had. Look, somebody's
Mhm.
got to own it. Might as well be him. This might as well
Right.
be him. And
Okay.
but he knew that that was going to crush some sort of financial thermostat. We all have these financial thermostats, right? And some of them might be as small as like, oh shit, well, if I go out to dinner, man,
Okay.
I'm going to order the chicken. I really don't want to look further down the menu. The steak will scare me away, right? So
Yeah.
people only order the chicken, and then to crush that financial thermostat, they got to go out and fucking order the steak, man. You
So
know what I mean?
he was breaking a barrier in his mind.
Yeah, do you ever
Yeah.
notice with with financial stuff, Brian? I don't know if you ever notice this, but what'll happen is, especially guys like, you know, guys like us and people that are listening to this podcast that are
Mhm.
out there business owners, and we're out there doing whatever we can to crush it and make a ton of money and all this kind of stuff, right? Is that
Yeah.
what'll happen is we'll have 1 month that just fucking spikes through the roof, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden it'll come back down to what we're normally used to, right?
Right.
So what that is, that's called the guitar string method, right? That's the guitar string. So the
Yeah.
guitar string bends up and then pow back down. Well,
Mhm.
that's your financial thermostat. That's because your
Gotcha.
thermostat is actually set at that lower month. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Or whatever, however you determine it, whether you determine month,
Sure.
week, year, whatever
Yeah.
people use, you know.
Yeah.
And
I can fully see that. I'm setting up a lead program, and I'm working with a group. I'm pitching it back to a group that actually the office I came from. And as I'm crafting this in my mind, I'm thinking this is such a no-brainer. I only need this much money from you to test it to see if it works. And for every dollar you put in, $2 to $3 comes out. This is just give me the money right now. Let's just get it going. But they're hemming and hawing over. That's that thermostat. They're hemming and hawing over a number. To me, that seems, I wouldn't say trivial, but it's like, why is this even a concern?
sure. Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, the key to it is they've got to understand that they're buying money at a discount. I've learned that
Yeah.
from a really good marketing friend of mine. I would say his name's many of you guys seen. I just recently shared that him and Mark Joyner, which Mark Joyner, I don't know if you read any Russell Brunson book. Mark Joyner was the original mentor of Russell Brunson. Well, him and Mark just launched in ClickFunnels. They probably never had even fucked with ClickFunnels before, but they launched it and like literally hit the 2 Comma Club within the very first launch. So they launched this product and bam, hit the 2 Comma Club. And they made a lot of profit as well on it. And to top it off, but these dudes have made, I mean, shit, Mark Joyner was part of like Blue Blocker, and so was Eric. And, you know, they were part of the old school, like Icy Hot campaigns. I mean, they were part of like some real deal fucking shit, right? And one of the things that I learned from Eric is that you've got to, you got to convince people, especially in a situation like that, where they're going to put $1 in and take $2 out, that, man, that like what I'm giving you, you're buying money at a discount.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're just buying money. You're paying me to get more money. And I had this limiting belief back in the day that I couldn't sell a $3,000 event ticket. And I was talking to Eric about that. And I'm like, dude, I just don't see the people in our industry being able to afford it and all this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me this one simple question. He says, John, he says, back when you were living in your 700 square foot apartment, I'm talking about the poor John, the one that, paying $350 a month in rent. He goes, I'm talking about that John. He goes, if I would have pulled up the front of your little apartment with a brand new Ferrari and told you that you could have it for $4,000. He said, how long would it take you to get the money? And I said, well, I would have done anything, right? Would have begged, borrowed, steal to my neighbors, tried to collect it, made deals, made it happen, right? Because I knew I was buying money at a discount, right? I buy that Ferrari that's worth, $250,000 for $4,000. I'm going to do whatever I can to get the money to buy it because I'm buying money at a discount.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he says, John, you got to sell my Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized that it wasn't the thing that people were buying, but it was my offer that needed the polishing.
Yeah.
The value components, everything that I laid out on the table for that offer has to be so convincing that people feel as if they're 10xing their money, like anytime they invest it with me. And that was a big learning experience. And it actually broke that financial ceiling that we're talking about here, that it broke it in my mind. And it said to me, it was like, man, how can I do this? It made my wheels start turning. And like, how can I position this as a Ferrari?
Right.
And the funny thing is that we started doing photo shoots at them first events with the very first photo shoot that we did was a Lamborghini. We had a Lamborghini there. So essentially I did sell it was a Lamborghini, same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same tier of vehicle anyway.
That's a very good that's a very good point. I've experienced that recently, crafting different things in the industry. I mean, in my industry, you can sell and sell and sell, but you run into that cap. It's stepping out into what the other things that are more scale. So nowadays I'm looking at what's something that's scalable. So this ad that we're crafting, and I've got it dialed in, ready to go. And first thing I made sure is, okay, dollar goes in and it gives me this much. What if I put $10? If I put $100, I'm saying relative, is it mathematically just more money in equals more money out? That's the viewpoint to look at on your value thing. So I've done sales and sales training and sales since about 20 years. We haven't. So to my right hand here, we opened a new 40-foot training center for our insurance stuff, and that's going to eventually be a sales training center as well. But one of the things we talk about is there's a price line. So when someone's buying from you, whether it's something small or something high, there's a line. That price is where the price is the line. So what you have to do is either A, you build value, and that value needs to exceed the price, and now they will buy it. Or you've got to drop the line so far that it meets the value. So if I walked if I walked across the street to a University of Texas, as I can see through my window, and we started offering Ferraris, I would sell 0 at $250,000. Sure. But like what you said, you can start dropping the price to whatever's in their wheelhouse, and it becomes a no-brainer. But all you're doing is dropping it to match it. That value line either has to be increased or the price has got to drop to meet it.
Yeah. I like to add value components that don't cost a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like you said, that are scalable value components. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of times that can be just ways that you stack the offer and ways that you build the value inside of that offer. But like you said, lowering the price and raising the value is ideally, you've really got to convince. In fact, what I like to do is something even better. Like if I know the value is there, like the value's there, right? So let's say these clients and customers want to invest X amount of dollars, and know that it's $1 in and $3 out, or $1 in and $2 out, right? So essentially you're selling them money at a discount. Probably the best thing to do at that point, especially if you were solid, like that this is going to work for them, is to use a risk reversal. Is basically to say, okay, well, how about this? If if it doesn't work, then you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, there is a function in our space called revenue share. So that actually crossed my mind too. It's like, okay, well, what if I did the ad money? You just pay me when you sell. You give me a percentage of the sales. So that's a no risk factor. We've done it before with other we've done it before with other companies where the risk is me. If I spend such and such and the ad tanks and does nothing, then I'm out the money. But I get the reward and the cost sharing when you do sell. The downside of that, though, is that you rely on their sales skills as opposed to Jim just coming to you and buying it from you. So yeah, there's a trade-off there,
Right.
but I like that idea as well. It really becomes you're not only the vendor, you're also the customer in the same shot.
Right.
So you're really monitoring, hey, you working them leads? You calling them leads I'm giving you?
Right. And ultimately what you've done there with your offer structure is you've taken the weight off the client's shoulders and you put it on your shoulders. And
Mm-hmm.
when you do that, it's very hard for a client to say no. It's just very, very hard for a client to say no. I want to say, who was it recently we built a website for? It was Drew. So Drew Lane. And I think I actually used the risk reversal on him. I'm just like, dude, how about this, man? If you don't like it, you just don't have to pay for it, man. Okay. Go ahead and build it. All right. Yeah, we'll bill you when it's done. I know you're going to love it. It doesn't matter because we're going to satisfy you. You're going to love it. It's going to be insane. It's going to be off the hook. And that's no problem. And I already know you're good for the money. And I know you're honest too. So them are the another key factor that you got to plug into that scenario, right? Because you don't want to do it with and to be honest with you, like most people are honest. Like most people, the majority of people are honest. And to like hide the technique of risk reversal just because like one or two people may screw you out of a little bit of money here and there, it's the amount of money that you make off of it. It's not the amount of money that you lose, because that's very minute. And I see that in this world, I mean, I guess I've always been like this, and I've been screwed over here and there, but I've had clients and customers that would, we're in the automotive industry as well, where I would let them pick up their car and they would owe me $1,000, $2,000, and I would just say, slide it through the envelope, slide it through the mail slot.
Yeah.
And, but I knew who to trust. And, it was very rare that somebody had ever screwed me over. And I always thought that I'd rather have like faith in humanity than, be an individual who, just thinks that, and I've ran into that. Like it ruined a business partnership of mine that, the business partner was so paranoid that everybody in the world was going to screw us over. Everybody in the world was going to take this and, take advantage of us. It got to the point to where I'm just like, dude, like, it got me thinking, I'm like, are you dishonest? Because, man, you sure in fuck think the whole world is dishonest. And
It's
I'm
usually
like,
a reflection on them. Yeah.
it's like you are so worried about people stealing and so worried about people, taking. It's like, man, you need to let that shit go. Have faith in humanity and just give. It's like the giver's game, and rather than live in a world where everything's scarce and everybody's trying to take from you and all that kind of stuff, it's just a place where I don't like to be mentally. And it ruined our partnership because I couldn't be around him anymore because that's all he talked about all the time. And it just put me in position where I'm just like, dude, I just can't be around you anymore, man. You're just too negative. Not only was he worried about everybody stealing from us, he was worried about anybody else who could be a possible competitor, which is just, it's a bad state of mind. Like I always say that, man, if somebody's doing it right, like I don't care if somebody's competing with me and they're doing it right. Like I want to give them props, man. Good job. And if you come in, you legitimately, you get your dues and you beat me, good job. Good job. Good for you. You got a kid, you got a family, you got a dream. Look, there's enough in the world. It's an abundant world. And what it all comes down to is there's people that live their whole life in like a fucking scarcity mindset. It sucks.
You're absolutely right. It's usually the people that like, I hate drama, are like the most dramatic people, or this negativity. You're constantly negative. Talking about the syndicate thing, you can actually make a syndicate of competitors. So I'm primarily in the health insurance space, health under 65, but I also do life insurance, Medicare for the whole country, health, life, Medicare nationwide. But there is an agency and they're a national company, but they only operate in about 30 states, and they have a product that is so niche that it leads to a lot of declined applications. So I love talking to those people because I know that they're going to have people that they can't work with, either the spouse of the applicant or they're too unhealthy, or whatever the reason is. I can help that person. Oh, and you're also a licensed agent. We can make it I can compensate you for it. So now it took a guy that I was quote unquote competing with, and now he becomes a referral partner. I wouldn't really ever send anything to him because what he sells, I sell too. However, because I sell so much more, can offer so much more than what they can, it becomes so I have no problem. I can only take leads in. I'll give you some cash back. And now your network is built with people that you're getting free money from people that you're competing with. I'm sure you do things that your other marketing competitors would not. You probably get that kind of thing too.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And we're going to be having Brandon on next week, Jose and Brandon. So Brandon, he's going to be on next week. And man, we network to hell with each other, man. I mean, they're really good at what they do. They're primarily like service HVAC companies. And I happen to know and work with some HVAC guys. And they do, they run ads, and Brandon's just a genius inside of creating like custom CRMs and things like that. So we network and we work together and we empower each other, and they're always tagging me in different things, and I'm always sharing their name. I think I had Brandon in last month inside of my inner circle as a guest marketer, and was sharing a lot of his knowledge and techniques and things like that inside of my inner circle group. Cool. So, man, it's incredible to link up with people that are in your same niche, because they're going to have a very strong wheelhouse things that they do. And they actually have us building, their HVAC websites for them.
See, and that's awesome. Rather than try to add that component, they can focus back on what they do best. You do that really, you're the man at that. So let's just partner together. We're not competing marketers anymore. We're going to take the best of both worlds.
Well, and the interesting thing is there's so much out there. I think the problem is a lot of people tend to just fall into that idea that, there's not enough. There's not enough to go around. I mean, you look at how many people need health insurance all the time. Like, there's no way that one company or one guy or one person could service them all. No. But if you link up with somebody like that, you become much more powerful in numbers. Your message gets amplified. So I love the idea of what you called that. You actually named that a competitor, like a syndicate with your competitors.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible way to look at the type of power you can put together just by sharing each other's services.
Yeah. And that's there was one of our Apex executives was one of our meetings recently. He was talking about sharing value in what you do. Like I'm at the Funnel Closer event, and I don't know if they can take that, what I said, and use it somewhere else. That's great. You do it, but I'm still going to be able to do it for what I've been doing. That's what this other Apex member talked about too, is like, you can show everybody what it is you're doing, and they just won't want to do it. So they'll end up paying you for it anyway.
That's it. Yeah, that is the game, my friend. I mean, really, and it's just being like a good person in general, right? That's like sharing the gift that that God has given us, right? And sharing that with the world and helping people. And you're just going to find there's going to be people that just don't want to do it themselves, or they've got more money than they have time. I mean, I'm constantly looking for people that have more money than they have time. And also, one of the key characteristics of people that are wealthy, which is my target client and customer, is not necessarily wealthy, but let's just say they're not lacking in money.
Sure.
And but that being said, I mean, one of the key characteristics is of people that are wealthy or that have money, they understand that time is more valuable than money. Period.
Fully.
And and they value that. They value time. Like, money is just there to give them more time, right? More moments. And it's just a key characteristic, because money comes back, right? So you spend money. If I go and write a $20,000 check right now and give it to somebody to do something for me, that $20,000 will come back. Time doesn't. Time doesn't. If I spent the 2 months or the month of whatever I just paid that person to do, right? If I go out and put my own fence in my backyard, or dig my own hole to pour my own pool, and spend an entire lifetime doing that, right? That time doesn't come back. But the money that I pay the person to go do that comes back. It reappears, and I still have my time. Which at the really, it's the only thing that we actually have that we have any kind of possession over is the moment. The moment.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I remember sitting at lunch. This was my first year in insurance, and I was on the way, in my first year to make six figures. But I was having lunch with the national manager and the company president, and the national manager was talking about how his landscaper hung Christmas lights on his house. And I grew up son of my dad was an engineer, but he worked at Lockheed, the factory to make airplanes. My mom just kind of bounced around different fast food management. So that was, I mean, very, hourly wage type of scenario. And they did, everything was done yourself. You did everything yourself. So when he was saying that, that was the first time that I'd been around somebody that would do something like that. I remember thinking it was kind of funny, almost kind of lame, like you're not being, the man of your house. And I was like, why do you do that? He goes, well, if I have him do it, I'm not spending my time doing that. And the second part is, if he falls off a ladder or cuts his arm or does something where he's hurt and he cannot work, his dollar per hour that he earns is exponentially higher than just giving the gardener or the landscaper the money to have it done, and you go about and do something else. So I love that about Thomas Keenan's book. You and I are good friends with Thomas. The $1,000 and $10,000 job. So even as something as simple as, if I mow the lawn, I'm not hanging out with Mason, my son. Playing Legos with Mason or playing Minecraft with Mason has no dollar value that you can ever replace, as opposed to paying my neighborhood kid $50 every other week to do it for me.
Right. Well, and also what you've got to realize there is, when the gentleman paid his landscaper that money to hang Christmas lights on his home, he's also contributing to the economy. And that's one of the things, if you ever listen to Daniel Lapin, Rabbi Lapin.
No, I know the name.
Yeah, so Daniel Lapin, he wrote The Business Secrets of the Bible, which is a phenomenal book, and he's a rabbi. So really, it's just a lot about the original Hebrew text in the original, the Old Testament of the Bible. And he goes into detail about why the Jewish culture they're so into specializing. Meaning that you don't see Jewish people out mowing their lawn. You don't see them out, doing other odd jobs. They focus on what they do best, and then they pay other people to do what they do best. And one of the reasons why is because that's a functioning economy. I mean, that's how the economy is function. That's how the more that we can fuel our economy, you know what I mean? Because you might pay that landscaper $500 to hang the lights on his house, and then he might go and give the grocer $500, and the grocer might need some insurance and give you, $10,000.
Yeah. It sounds like a joke, but there was a story I heard where a guy is at a hotel with a call girl, pays the call girl, and then the rest of the story is the call girl pays the hotel guy, and it goes this big circle all the way back to where it started. It sounds like a joke because it's a prostitute, but the moral of it is, it's like your dollar goes out into the world and comes back. Like you said, money comes back. I'm really interested in a lot of the old Jewish stuff. They used to do things like, their fields were square, but they cut when they would sow. When they would reap, they would only cut in a circle. And those little extra pieces on the corners were given to people that were homeless, peasants, slaves, or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, interesting, man.
Yeah,
really interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and if you look in their culture, one of the neat things that I had read in The Business Secrets of the Bible, he talks about in the Hebrew language that there's no false words. So there's and in our language, there's a lot of false words. And one of the ones that struck me the most was rights. How the government gives us our rights, or we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right?
Okay.
So he basically said that's a false word. That word has no meaning to it at all. So we hold that word near and dear to our heart, rights. But let me ask you something. Do you have the right to life if you're stuck out in the middle of a boat in the middle of the ocean and it's sinking? Are you with me, Brian? Brian? Looks like Brian froze up a little bit. Hopefully you guys can hear me here on Facebook. I'll just keep on going. I'm gonna just keep on going with what I was talking about right there, since we're recording. So Essentially, rights do not exist, because if it's something that is given to you by the government, are you with me, Brian?
I'm back.
Okay.
What that was.
So it kind of blanked out a little bit there, but I just kept on talking a little bit. So essentially, if you're stuck out in the middle of the boat, a boat in the middle of the ocean, and your boat starts sinking, do you still have the right to life? You have the right to liberty or happiness at that point.
Yeah.
Now, the government tries to tell us that we have these rights, right? But isn't that the same government that could take them away?
Yeah.
How is it a right if it could be taken away?
I fully agree. You're not entitled to it. Yeah.
There's no such thing that is given to us by other men. There is only God-given things in our life that can be given to us, right? Like God doesn't give us the right to life, because right now we could, an airplane could crash into our, very unlikely, right?
Yeah.
But right now, an airplane could literally crash into our building and kill us. We don't have the right to that. We don't have it. And it's a false word. And so Rabbi Lapin really goes into detail about the different types of false words that we use in our language that have no meaning at all. And we put meaning around them. Like most people, I got my rights. I got my rights. Is that what people said when Hitler kicked down their door? All the rights were gone then, weren't they?
Yeah.
Because whatever's given to you by man can be taken away. There's no such thing as rights.
Yeah, absolutely can be taken, especially by force. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. I just looked that up while we're a little disconnect here. Check
you
that
froze
out.
there, man. You look like Weekend at Bernie's, man. You remember like Weekend at Bernie's, and Bernie died, and they had to, wheel him around in his wheelchair, and he's just stuck there like in one position. I always love it when people freeze, but they freeze in like the funniest position ever. They're just like,
yeah. We actually pause the show or a commercial. Yeah.
All right, man. So we're coming close to the top of the hour, my man.
Cool.
Is there anything else you want to drop here on the podcast today? Let everybody know where they can contact you.
I did have one tip. I was thinking of it toward the beginning. So when I was getting these referrals over the week, is to be able to live where they are first. So they all started with Facebook DMs, and you want to try to keep it there as much as possible where they're comfortable. So my first question to somebody is, do you want to see more information online? That's my links that I created to live in that digital space. Or do you want to have a brief phone call? Only 3 out of 10 said phone call, which is interesting.
Really?
Yeah. And then 3 were comfortable all living in there. And I got 3 applications all just in DM. So, and then other 3 people like, well, just send me the info link. Okay. So it's interesting. But I close 1 and 3. I have strong position to get another 3 more. And then the other 3 are going to require some follow-up. So it's just different stages of where people are comfortable. In this day and age, a phone call with someone is a very large commitment. It really is.
Yeah.
You're going to say, okay, well,
jump on the phone with you though, are more likely to close.
Yeah, they're usually more motivated. I don't ever share anyone's stuff, but 2 of them had a high health need that they needed to get fixed. One of them had was more urgent because of a changeover. So for me, the phone call person is someone that's more urgent or really wants to put their, really wants to walk through it or need to be more educated. The one that's comfortable looking at it on their own, or maybe they're not that close, then I can send the DM link and they can see some more information. But also, like I said, I had 3 that were comfortable doing it all themselves, and they applied. So I have no problem living wherever they want to live, whether it's email, text message, DM. I will stay wherever they're comfortable as long as possible. So I've been marketing myself that way.
Yeah. So one of the things I do in one of my business coaching funnels is I have folks, of course, fill out an application. And once they fill out the application, it will go to the next page, which gives them a number to call. And it lets them know that if they call the number, they can leave a message, and it will move them to the first in line for me to contact them and set up like a free consultation or whatever it is that we do, a quick call. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you that the closing rate is through the roof on the ones that take the time to pick up the phone and do the phone call.
Right.
And I specifically did it like that because I wanted people, especially if you're going to be coaching them, you only want people that you really want to work with and that really want to work with you.
Sure.
And because of that, I knew that if I added that additional step and they were willing to go through with that additional step, that they were that much more interested in being a client. And then also,
Absolutely.
you're talking, I mean, I would say in your field, it depends on your niche, what you're doing, because, to work with me, to pay me $20,000 to work with you, is a little bit different than you usually have to pick up a phone. If you want to, you want to do a $20,000 sale, you got to pick up a phone.
Right.
Opposed to health insurance now, I believe people, regardless, because that might be that expensive, but people are really used to doing it online now. So they've kind of been, that's one of the things that people just got used to over time, is being able to fill out insurance quotes on time and pay a significant amount of money, just going through an online portal. And
people will like to work with somebody if it gets to that point, but I don't think you need to alienate people. And the insurance people, they don't want to work. They want to work like 10 to 2 every Tuesday and Thursday. That's all they want to do. So I'm not going to force someone, outside. I was texting a guy yesterday. It was after 11. He's in Florida. He goes, "Well, it's midnight. I didn't expect a text back from you." Well, I'm just happen to be up, so I'm gonna send it back. But be where they are first. So, but my contact info can be on my website. It's the easiest place is insuranceoftexas.net. On the bottom of the home page, I have my bio link. And they can go up from there, Facebook and whatnot. Yep.
All right. So today, Brian, appreciate you. That's Brian McKittrick. And you can check him out at, you said insuranceoftexas.net?
Correct. Yeah. And spell out Texas.
All right. All right, my man. So great podcast we had here with you today. And as usual, Marketing Revolution peeps, I will see you on the next one.
Awesome.